Hi everyone, it's Rachel. So we're gonna talk today basically about one nation, different cultures, and we're gonna go into a little bit of depth about that. So basically, I want to start off this session with okay, clear your mind, and basically, I want you to mentally draw a picture of a Jew. Okay, it can be whatever you think. There's nothing wrong, nothing right. I can't see what you're doing. So just in your mind, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. In your mind, just mentally draw a picture of a Jew. So in about 5 seconds, we'll go into more detail. Okay, so now that you have that image of what a Jew looks like, how does the Jew that you draw define Judaism? Meaning, everyone thinks of a Jew differently. I'm just going to give a few examples. If you're, let's say, Ashkenaz, like you would think of a Jew, with a big nose, payas, really Hasidish looking. If you're Sephardi, maybe you drew a Jew that looks more dark skinned and, not necessarily with their tzitzit hanging out and has like a more funky looking kippah, or just if you just think of like a standard person just with a yarmulke and tzitzis as a Jew. So basically, everyone defines Judaism differently, and that's because we all have different cultures. What does that mean? Meaning, like, we have, Lubavitch, we have Ashkenaz, we have Sephardi, we have different levels of Hasidus, which is like different levels of like Hasidim. You have Bukharian. You have very different Jews around the world. So something that you realize is that you're very proud of who you are. I myself am Ashkefardi, which means that I am half Sephardi, half Ashkenaz. I know it's not necessarily a real thing, but to my family it is. And everyone's different. So, you take pride in that. Like, I take pride in my Sephardi side, and I take pride in my Ashkenaz side. So a lot of Sephardim will be very like, oh, Sephardi all the way, this, that. And a lot of Ashkenazim will be like, no, we do it our way, the Ashkenazi way, kugel, gefilte fish, all the way. And then, you just have different sections of Judaism. So what happens is that pride ends up turning into a little bit of haughtiness. And it becomes something that, it shifts from being something that, you're being so passionate in your Judaism to you're being so selective. Meaning that you're not as accepting towards other Jews. Now, I'm not saying you specifically, but I'm just saying as a general. So I kind of wanted to get into, how many of you, I'm sure that a lot of you guys, know the story of the Beis HaMikdash, and that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, that we don't have it anymore. So one of the main reasons specifically why we don't have the Beis HaMikdash is because we weren't getting along with each other. Different Jews were saying, no, you can't do that. You can't serve God that way. You have to serve God this way. No, I'm going to serve God this way because this is the way that we do it. No, I'm going to do it this way, that way, that way. Basically, no one was getting along with each other. Nobody was just serving God to serve God. Nobody was just going to the Beis HaMikdash and serving Hashem the way that, that they should, which is from deep down in the heart, that the way that they need to serve Hashem. It got all mixed up, and it was just a big, big, big mess. So then what happened? Nobody was getting along. So because of that, Hashem had to destroy the Beis HaMikdash so that we would wake up and see, wow, like, what's going on? How could God do something like this? Oh, maybe it was because we weren't a nation. We weren't together. So the same topic applies today. When you think about it, what what are we in now? What time, what era are we considered right now? Right now, we're in the times of Mashiach, meaning like the world is a mess. It's not an amazing place right now. A lot of different things are going on. There's a lot of many issues in the world, environmentally, politically, just many things are happening. So basically, we're in the times of Mashiach, okay? We're in the times of the Beis Hamikdash. So what's going on now is that we're not necessarily getting along with each other as we should. Meaning in a time like this, in a time of destruction, in a time of Gashmias, we should be able to be together. We should be standing as one nation. We should hold each other hand in hand. We should help our fellow Jew. What's happening nowadays, it's more of a competition. It's more of a selection. It's more of a, oh, you're not Sephardi? Sorry, you can't join my Sephardi party. Oh, you're not Ashkenaz? Sorry, no gefilte fish for you. It's very selective. It's very, you're with your people. And anyone else who tries to be you, it's just no. Like you're not. This isn't working. And we can't do that. Wake up. We can't be racist within ourselves. How does that make us a nation? How can we call ourselves Jewish, one Jewish nation, like one nation for God, when we're racist within each other? That just doesn't work. It's just not possible. So basically, what I want to get into is how can we fix ourselves from there? How do we become one nation altogether? And now something that's very interesting is that when you look at the world today, right? What's going on in Israel? What's going on, with our land? Basically, what's happening is that Israel, as we know it, belongs to us. And it's not even as we know it. It belongs to us. It's our country. It's the beginning point of Jude. It's where we are. It's where Hashem, it's who we are. We're Israel. And what's happening is that the Palestinians are being like, no, this is our land. This is where we were created from. This is our territory. It's not yours. And what's happening is the rest of the world is also agreeing to that. The rest of the world is saying, yeah, Israel, it's Jews. Israel's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. This little piece of land in the world, it belongs to the Palestinians. So what's also happening is that even in America, the UN, the United Nations, everyone is just, they're not agreeing that Israel belongs to the Jewish people. So how can we sit around and argue within ourselves if, we're Jewish enough for each other when the whole world is arguing about how Israel is not ours, how our home is not ours? We need to focus and we need to join forces together to look at the bigger picture. Forget about our small little indifferences with each other. We need to go into the big picture and really tie together as a nation and defend ourselves and really show, no, we're one nation, we're a strong nation, and we all believe in each other. We're all hand in hand together around the borders of Israel, protecting our home. So I kind of want to compare this to, let's say, something like, for example, like how people try to defy Judaism, meaning like to just show you guys how powerful Judaism is, how powerful our nation is, that this pettiness of, having different cultures, because, when we split up as a nation, we settled in the lands that we settled in. And we picked up on where we settled. And that's okay. That's something that we're allowed to do. So basically, at the end of it all, obviously, we're all doing one thing. We all have one Torah. Like, we're all Jewish. So I wanted to go more into detail about, how, people try to defy Judaism. And, like, for example, there's basically a story, right, that Ahmadinejad, he denied the entire Holocaust. He said the Holocaust didn't happen. It wasn't real. It was just all fabricated. And, it's just one big giant lie. So later, when he was quote unquote proven wrong, he basically said, well, you know what? It doesn't matter because millions of people die every day. Okay. But obviously you can't say that. Like, there's a big difference between genocide and a death casualty. You know, there's a big difference between a whole nation being wiped out of existence as opposed to, you know, soldiers dying defending a country. So this also ties into like the 3 times in Judaism that you can't defy Judaism, that you have to fight for your life. You have to fight for your creation. You have to fight for your Judaism. So basically, I don't know if you guys know the 3 times, but I'm going to go over it again. And that's basically if someone comes up to someone and puts a gun to their head and says, you have to worship an idol or die, or you have to kill a person or die, or you have to commit adultery and die. So either one of these things you can never do, meaning in the sense of like, if chas v'shalom, you know, this was to happen to someone, that they cannot bow to an idol and be like, okay, it's my life, I have to, you know, live. Okay, yes, I'll bow down to the idol. Yes, I'll kill a person. Yes, I'll commit adultery. These are the 3 stems that revolve around our sanity, that revolve around our Judaism. So basically, what that means is that we stand by not doing these things. And if someone forces us to do them, then we'd rather go than do these things, because what are we doing? We're protecting ourselves, al kiddush Hashem. We're choosing God over physicality. So basically, the Rambam says that these are the 3 things that Jewish people stand on, and that these are the things that branch out towards Judaism. What does that mean? That from these 3 things stems all our other laws. From these 3 things, this is how we live. So we should never defy our culture. We should never stereotype ourselves like these 3 things, meaning in the sense of like, because of these 3 things, we know that we're a nation. We know that we all have the same morals. Everyone knows not to kill someone. Everyone knows not to commit adultery. Everyone knows not to worship any god or any idol besides Hashem. And that's the same for every culture. Why? Because whether you're Sephardi, Ashkenaz, Lubavitch, Bukharian, whatever you are, you're all sharing the one thing that is the Torah. You're all sharing the same mitzvos. Listen, at the end of the day, you're all keeping Shabbos. You're all keeping kashrus. You're all keeping the Asar Sedibros. You're following the motherboard of everything. You're literally following the stem, the creation of Judaism. So at the end of the day, we can't just stereotype each other. At the end of the day, we just need to be there for each other. At the end of the day, you know, we need to value our Judaism, because look at what all our forefathers, look at what our great like till times to the power of 10 grandfather fought for. They fought for us to be here. There's an interesting story that I heard that basically post-Holocaust, there was this older couple, like a grandfather and a grandmother, and they were at their child's house, and they were having like a meal with their grandchildren. And basically they're at the house, and what happens is that the parents ask their kids, like the older couple's grandkids, what do you want for dinner? And the kids go, oh, I want a pepperoni pizza. And so the mother's like, okay, fine, and orders a pepperoni pizza. Now what happens is that the grandfather cries and bawls his eyes out. And everyone is just kind of looking at him like, what's going on? Like, why are you freaking out? Like, we don't keep kosher. Like, we this is how we live. This is our lifestyle. And the grandfather just starts crying and crying. And he says, basically back in the day when he was in one of the camps, a soldier as a prank joke type thing, grabbed him and said, "Eat this pig now or die." And the grandfather said, "No, I'm not going to eat it." And he said, "Eat this pig now or I'm going to shoot you." And the guy said, the grandfather said, "No, I'm not. I'm sorry. Like, it's never going to happen ever." So what happens is that the Nazi, he points his gun right to the grandfather's head and says, "I'm not joking. Do it right now. Listen to me." And he says, "No, there's only one person that I'll listen to, and that's God." So what happens is that the Nazi soldier pulls the trigger to the gun, and his gun had a backage. His gun was messed up, like it didn't work basically, and he kept trying, and his gun was broken. So what happened is, in that time, he was so dedicated to Hashem, he was living al Kiddush Hashem, that he refused to eat the pork, and because of that, Hashem made the Nazis' gun not work. Okay, so fast forward it back to, this time. What happens is that now their grandchild is having not kosher, is completely defying what the grandfather fought for. So we really need to put ourselves in those positions, in the positions of, what did our grandparents fight for? What did, they fought for us to be here. They fought whether someone was in the Holocaust, wasn't in the Holocaust, this, that, whether they fled away or not. They fought for us. No matter what, our parents fight for us every day. We're constantly being protected, and for what? We have to show what we're made of, who we are. So we really have to go back and think to the time of the Beis Hamikdash, how it was chaotic, and how, nobody was getting along with each other, and how really, it was a mass destruction. We just weren't a nation. We were together as one, and then all of a sudden we were just scattered. So we really have to put ourselves in our shoes, and in the shoes of our ancestors back then, and see how far we've come, what type of Jew we're going to be. Are we going to be a Jew that is going to stand with our nation, or are we just going to be someone who's so caught up in physicality that we're judgmental towards each other? So really, the message from here is that, why did I ask you to, draw a Jew in your head, is that, so even though like we can assume certain things, from the external, from like what we see from our fellow brothers and sisters, we can't really know like the type of Jew each person is, just because like, they're a part of, being Sephardi or Ashkenaz or this, that doesn't defy them as a Jew. That doesn't, make them all like, they're less religious because they're Yemenite and they eat like a lafa on Pesach. So we don't associate ourselves with them. No, what are we saying? They're our fellow, they're our cousin, they're our sibling. You wouldn't do that to your own brother or sister. That's who this person is. This person isn't just a regular schmojo. This person is it's a part of you. This person is stemmed from God. This person has a part of Hashem in them. You have a part of Hashem in you. So what does that make you? Siblings. That ties you together. So really, it's, we have to look at one another as, spiritual beings, that we're all spiritual beings and we're all connected to one person, and that's Hashem. There's no judging one another. There's no stereotyping one another. There's no being racist towards one another, because ain't nobody got time for that. We don't have time for that. Look at where we are in the world. We all have to stand connected, hand in hand. We all have to be Am Yisrael Chai. And at the end of the day, that is what's going to keep us together as a living nation in the times today. It's everyone, nobody can agree that the world is comfortable the way it is now, and we're perfect and we're fine and it's amazing and life's great. No, there's people starving in the street. There's people trying to tear our homeland away from us. So we can never say that something is perfect, but what we can say is that we're Jewish. We have our brothers and sisters. We have people that we're leaning on. And, because we're in the times of Mashiach, ultimately, that should motivate us, and that will motivate us, that we're all going to stand with each other. We're never, ever, ever, chas v'shalom, never gonna abandon our fellow Jew. We're never, ever, ever going to block out our fellow Jew, but that we're going to welcome our fellow Jew with open arms. We're going to treat our fellow Jew like family, because we're all one big family. And that's what makes us an entirely different nation from everyone else. We never put one another in danger. So, stereotyping and really, just splitting up into different sections and like not associating with each other because, oh, you're this one, you're that one, you're that one. No, it's all garbage. It's all not what we are. We are one nation, and we need to stand together, because there are bigger problems out there than, whether someone's this or that or that. We're dealing with, people who are trying to wipe out our entire nation. So what do you do when someone's trying to defy you? You prove to them how existent you are. You prove to them what kind of a person you are. You prove to them what kind of a nation you are. And that is our purpose. And that is what we have to do. We cannot go against each other. We have to stand forces with each other and unite as a nation whole. So I want that to be your takeaway, that you feel the strength from your fellow brothers and sisters, and that you don't feel the need to push away, that you're all related to each other. You're all one nation. We're all Am Yisrael Chai, and that we need to stand up for our nation together, and not stand up, because of our cultures and this, that, and separate each other. All that we're all one nation. We're all one people. And we just have to remember that, because the times are crazy now, and that's what's going to get us through it. That's what's going to bring Mashiach, the unity of the Jewish people. So yeah. So I wish you guys a good night, and thank you for listening.